The massive construction mech drifted through space, its hydraulic arms moving in perfect synchronization as Chief Engineer Sarah Chen guided it through the intricate dance of assembling the new orbital defense platform. Her crew's voices filtered through the comm system, singing an old spacer's work song that helped them keep rhythm during the complex maneuvers. Heave and ho, through the void we go, building towers in the stars' soft glow. The song had started as a joke during training, but they discovered that singing together helped them coordinate the massive machinery better than any countdown could. Now it was standard practice among the orbital construction teams, much to the bemusement of their supervisors. Sarah was about to join in the next verse when her sensors picked up an anomaly. The reading made no sense, a massive distortion in space-time, right at the edge of Jupiter's orbit. Before she could alert command, the distortion erupted into a swirling vortex of purple energy. The singing stopped. Every worker stared in awe as a fleet of crystalline ships emerged from the vortex, their surfaces refracting sunlight in prismatic patterns. They were beautiful, alien, and terrifying all at once. All units, maintain position. Sarah broadcast to her team, keeping her voice steady despite her racing heart. Continue work as normal. Let's show our visitors that humanity doesn't scare easily. After a moment's hesitation, one of her youngest crew members, Diego, started up the work song again. Others joined in, their voices shaky at first, but growing stronger with each verse. Sarah smiled and added her own voice to the chorus as she guided her mech through another precise movement. Aboard the lead ship of the Viridian fleet, High Commander Ixel's crystalline sensory appendages vibrated with confusion. The humans had clearly detected their arrival. Their primitive sensors were obvious, yet instead of fleeing or preparing for combat, they continued their construction work while producing synchronized audio emissions. Analysis. Ixel demanded from his science officer, Zara. Zara's own sensory crystals pulsed with deep purple uncertainty. The humans appear to be using sound waves to coordinate their movements, Commander. But there's something else. The patterns contain emotional resonances we've never encountered before. They're not just communicating instructions. They're sharing feelings, creating neural synchronization through audio frequencies. Impossible, Ixel declared. No species could achieve efficient coordination through such a chaotic method. Yet as he watched the humans work, he couldn't deny their precision. The massive machines moved with grace that rivaled Viridian automation, all while their operators continued their bizarre sonic emissions. Should we proceed with the planned intimidation display? His tactical officer asked. Ixel hesitated. The Viridian Empire had conquered dozens of worlds, and their first contact protocol was well established. Demonstrate overwhelming technological superiority, demand submission, and accept nothing less than total compliance. But something about these humans gave him pause. No, he decided. Continue observation. There's something here we don't understand. Hours passed as the Viridian fleet watched the humans work. More construction crews arrived, each adding their voices to what had become a complex tapestry of overlapping songs. The humans showed no sign of fear or distraction, though they were clearly aware of being watched by a vastly superior force. Sarah's shift was nearly over when she received a transmission on all frequencies. The alien message was preceded by a burst of crystalline harmonics that made her teeth vibrate, then resolved into perfect English. Human construction units, this is High Commander Ixel of the Viridian Empire. Your species' method of operation is unusual. We request an explanation of your sonic coordination protocols. Sarah looked at her crew's faces on the comm screen, saw her own mix of anxiety and amusement reflected back. Taking a deep breath, she replied, High Commander, with respect, we're not following any protocols. We're singing. It's something humans do when we work together, when we're happy, sad, or scared. Sometimes even when we're about to fight. There was a long pause before the alien response came. You create these sound patterns, spontaneously, without technological assistance. That's right, Sarah answered. Would you like us to teach you a song? The question hung in the vacuum of space, a simple offer that would change the course of human history. Because what the Viridians couldn't know, what Sarah herself didn't fully realize, was that this moment marked the first crack in their empire's crystalline certainty. The idea that strength could come from something as chaotic and emotional as song didn't fit their rigid worldview. In the silence that followed, Diego started humming a new tune, one that would soon become famous throughout human space as the First Contact Waltz. One by one, other workers joined in, their songs drifting through space toward the crystalline ships, carrying humanity's first true message to the stars. We are here, we are unafraid, and we will face the universe with a song in our hearts. 3 months after first contact, the Viridian Empire's true nature revealed itself. Their initial fascination with human songs had masked a deeper disgust. To them, such emotional displays represented chaos, a threat to their crystalline order. The Empire demanded humanity's submission, presenting an ultimatum: silence or annihilation. Humanity's answer came in the form of a broadcast from the Mars Defense Station. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood before her assembled troops and began to sing the ancient Earth song, "We Shall Not Be Moved." Her voice, clear and defiant, carried across every frequency the Viridians used for communication. The crystalline ships surrounding Mars shimmered with angry pulses of red energy. High Commander Ixal, watching from his flagship, felt his sensory appendages vibrating painfully with each note. "Begin the assault," he ordered. "Show these creatures the price of defiance." The first wave of Viridian fighters shrieked toward Mars, their weapons charging with devastating power. But as they approached, something unexpected happened. The human defenders didn't retreat to their bunkers or scramble in panic. Instead, more voices joined Captain Rodriguez's song. "Tactical analysis," Ixal demanded from Zara, his science officer who had become increasingly troubled by their mission. "The humans are using multiple frequencies simultaneously," Zara reported, her crystals pulsing with concern. "Their sonic emissions are evolving. They're not just singing one song anymore. Different units are producing different patterns, creating interference waves that—" She never finished her sentence. A massive explosion rocked the Viridian formation as the first line of fighters suddenly lost control, their crystalline structures resonating chaotically with the humans' coordinated frequencies. On the surface of Mars, Maya allowed herself a grim smile as she watched the Viridian ships spiral out of formation. The past 3 months hadn't been wasted. Human scientists had studied the Viridians' crystalline technology extensively. They discovered that the alien ships, like their bodies, were susceptible to certain harmonic frequencies. Second verse, Maya commanded, and her troops shifted their song. The melody remained the same, but now they sang in a specific pitch the human scientists had determined would interfere with Viridian navigation systems. More enemy fighters began to wobble and crash into each other. Aboard his flagship, Ixal raged at the tactical display. "Impossible. They're using primitive sound waves as a weapon." His own crystals ached with each synchronized chorus from the human defenders. "Not just as a weapon," Zara corrected, her voice carrying an unusual tremor. "Look at their formation patterns. The songs are also coordinating their movements, boosting their neural efficiency. They're fighting better because they're singing." Indeed, the human defense ships wove through the chaos with unprecedented precision. Each squadron sang their own battle song, using the rhythms to time their maneuvers and coordinate their attacks. Traditional military commands mixed seamlessly with verses of everything from classical war hymns to pop songs, creating a symphony of defiance that was as tactically effective as it was psychologically devastating to the Viridians. Lieutenant James Chen, Sarah's brother and leader of Mars Squadron 5, led his pilots in an ancient Viking battle song as they engaged a group of Viridian cruisers. The song's thunderous rhythm helped them time their attack runs perfectly, while its specific frequencies disrupted the enemy's crystalline shields. "How do they maintain such coordination through chaos?" Ixal demanded, watching another formation of his ships fall into disarray. Zara's answer was interrupted by a new transmission from the humans. This time it was Sarah Chen's voice, broadcasting from Earth's orbital defense platform. "You thought our songs were a sign of weakness, High Commander. But music isn't chaos. It's humanity's way of finding order in chaos, of bringing people together to achieve the impossible. We've been singing our way through history's darkest moments since before we knew what stars were. Did you really think we'd stop just because you told us to?" As if to emphasize her point, a new song began spreading through the human fleet. It started with Maya's troops on Mars, then was picked up by the orbital defenders, and finally echoed through every human ship and station. A simple melody, but one sung with absolute conviction. "We shall overcome." The Viridian fleet's crystalline hulls vibrated dangerously as the song built in power. Ixal watched in horror as fracture patterns began appearing in his ship's structures. The humans had turned their very nature, the thing the Viridians had dismissed as primitive and chaotic, into a weapon that threatened to shatter the Empire's mighty fleet. "Full retreat," Ixal ordered, his voice carrying an unfamiliar emotion. Fear. As his ships fled from Mars orbit, the sound of human victory songs followed them, a clear message that this battle was only the beginning. In the aftermath, Maya gathered her troops in the Mars base's main hall. Their voices were hoarse from battle singing, but their spirits were higher than ever. "The Viridians will be back," she warned them, "and they'll try to find a way to counter our sonic tactics, but they don't understand what they're really fighting against. Our songs aren't just weapons or tools. They're who we are, and as long as humanity can raise its voice together, we will never submit to their silence." The halls of the Mars base echoed with cheers and song, the sound carrying through the thin Martian atmosphere and up into space, where the stars themselves seemed to vibrate with the triumph of the human spirit. 6 months into the war, humanity was ready to strike back. In secret laboratories across the solar system, engineers and musicians had worked together to create something unprecedented: the harmonic fleet. Leading the charge was the flagship Beethoven, commanded by Admiral Sarah Chen, promoted after her defense of Earth's orbital platforms had become legendary. The Beethoven's bridge hummed with activity as Sarah studied the tactical display. Around her, crew members wore neural sonic interfaces, headbands that translated their songs directly into ship commands. The technology had evolved from studying how the Viridians' crystalline technology responded to different frequencies. "All ships report ready, Admiral," announced her XO, Commander Diego Reyes, the same Diego who had kept singing during first contact. "The Tchaikovsky and Mozart squadrons are in position. Batch Squadron is maintaining rear guard." Sarah nodded, feeling the familiar weight of command. The harmonic fleet represented humanity's greatest achievement, warships designed to amplify and weaponize music itself. Each vessel was essentially a massive resonance chamber, capable of focusing the crew's songs into devastating sonic weapons. "Begin Operation Crescendo," Sarah ordered. "All ships, commence the battle symphony." The fleet emerged from FTL near the Viridian colony of Crystallis Prime. Instead of conventional warning sirens, the human ships broadcast a carefully composed piece of music, a combination of classical orchestral themes and modern electronic beats that the Viridian sensors couldn't ignore. On Crystallis Prime's surface, High Commander Ixal felt his crystalline structure vibrating with dread. The humans had been quiet for months, and he'd hoped they'd finally accepted the futility of resistance. Now they returned with ships that sang like stellar choirs. "Status of our sonic dampening systems," he demanded. Zara, who had requested transfer to planetary research after the Mars defeat, consulted her readings. "The new dampeners are online, Commander, but these aren't the same frequencies we faced before. The humans have evolved their techniques. They're using harmonics we've never encountered." The Beethoven led the attack, its hull conducting the combined voices of its 1,000-person crew into a focused beam of sonic energy. The impact shattered a Viridian defense platform into glittering shards. Behind it, the Mozart and Tchaikovsky squadrons split into perfect formation, their crews singing different parts of the battle symphony to create complex interference patterns. Launch all fighters. Ixal ordered. Deploy the sonic shields. Viridian ships rose from the crystalline surface of their colony world, their new defensive systems humming. But humanity had anticipated this. As the enemy fighters approached, the Beethoven's crew shifted their song. Sarah's voice led the change, moving from the martial main theme to something that had shocked military leadership when she proposed it: a lullaby. The simple, gentle melody cut through the chaos of battle like a knife through silk. Viridian pilots found their crystalline neural pathways being soothed, calmed, slowed. The lullaby wasn't just a song. It was a sonic sedative, tuned specifically to Viridian physiology. Fascinating, Zora murmured, watching the battle from her laboratory. They're not just using brute force anymore. They're composing music that speaks directly to our crystalline structures. It's as if they've learned to speak our biological language through song. Ixal noticed too late what the humans had done. While the lullaby incapacitated his fighters, the Tchaikovsky squadron had maneuvered into position around Kristalos Prime's main defense grid. Their crews began a thunderous rendition of the 1812 Overture, the famous cannon fire replaced by concentrated sonic pulses that reduced crystalline structures to dust. But humanity's masterpiece was yet to come. As the defense grid fell, Sarah gave the signal for the fleet's true purpose. All ships, begin the Harmony Protocol. Each vessel in the human fleet took up a different part of a vast musical piece. Alone, each ship's song was beautiful but harmless. Together, they created something unprecedented, a symphony of such perfect resonance that it began to affect the crystalline structure of Kristalos Prime itself. The planet's surface is becoming unstable, Zara reported, her voice filled with equal parts terror and awe. The human ships, they're not just attacking us. They're singing to the crystal bedrock itself. They've learned how to communicate with our world. Indeed, across Kristalos Prime, the very ground began to sing back to the human fleet. Centuries of Viridian construction had turned the planet's surface into one vast crystalline network. Now that network resonated with Earth music, creating feedback loops that threatened to tear the colony apart. Evacuation Protocol Alpha. Ixal commanded, finally accepting the inevitable. As Viridian ships fled the planet's surface, Sarah watched the tactical display with a mix of triumph and sadness. They hadn't destroyed Kristalos Prime. That wasn't the plan. Instead, they'd forced its evacuation by making the planet itself dance to human music. In her lab, Zura made a decision. As evacuation ships launched around her, she began recording everything. The frequencies, the harmonies, the way the humans had turned music into a force that could reshape worlds. But more importantly, she recorded her conclusions about what this meant. The humans hadn't just evolved their sonic weapons. They'd found a way to communicate with the very essence of Viridian existence. Perhaps, she thought, that had been their true victory all along. As the last Viridian ships fled, Sarah ordered the fleet to cease their attack symphony. In the sudden silence, she opened a channel to the retreating enemy. "You tried to silence us," she broadcast. "Instead, you taught us to sing to the stars themselves. Remember that the next time you think of humanity as primitive or chaotic, we'll be waiting." The harmonic fleet gathered in formation around their conquered prize. Soon, human scientists would begin studying how to better communicate with the crystalline planet. But for now, Sarah led her crew in a victory song. Not a battle hymn or a weapon, but a simple melody of hope for the future. After all, humanity had learned that music could be more than a weapon. It could be a bridge between worlds, if only the Viridians would learn to listen. News of humanity's victory at Kristalos Prime spread through the galaxy like ripples in a cosmic pond. The Viridian Empire, long considered unassailable, had been driven from one of their major colonies by a species that turned music into a force of nature. Among the many civilizations watching these events with interest were the harmonious collective of the Auroran Nebula. a coalition of species who had secretly resisted Viridian expansion for centuries. Admiral Sarah Chen was reviewing defense preparations aboard the Beethoven when the first RRN ships appeared. Unlike the crystalline structures of Viridian vessels, these ships seemed to flow like liquid metal, their surfaces rippling with aurora-like patterns. More striking was the signal they broadcast. Not words or data, but pure tones that shifted and danced through the electromagnetic spectrum. "They're singing to us," Diego realized, his neural sonic interface picking up patterns in the alien transmission. But not like we do. They're using electromagnetic frequencies, light itself, to create music. Sarah made a decision. Instead of raising shields, she ordered the harmonic fleet to respond in kind. 1,000 human voices joined together, creating a counterpoint to the alien symphony. For several minutes, the space around Crystallis Prime filled with an unprecedented duet between humanity and the Aurorans. The alien ships drew closer, their aurora patterns shifting to match the rhythm of human songs. A new signal came through, this time in perfectly translated English. "We have watched and waited, children of Earth, to see if you could truly understand the music of the cosmos. Now we know you are ready." The RRN ambassador, a being of shifting colors and light named Lyra, came aboard the Beethoven. Her translator converted her photonic communications into sound that humans could understand. For millennia, she explained to Sarah and her officers, we have fought the Viridian Empire in secret, using the fundamental harmonies of space-time itself as our weapons and shields. We thought we were alone in understanding that the universe itself sings, until we heard your battle symphony. You're saying that our music, Sarah began, it's not just affecting the Viridians' crystalline technology. Your species has stumbled upon something profound. Lyra's colors pulsed with excitement. The songs you've created, they resonate with the quantum fabric of reality itself. The Viridians aren't just vulnerable to your music because of their crystalline nature. They're vulnerable because they deny the very harmony that holds existence together. Diego leaned forward, his neural sonic interface humming with new possibilities. You're talking about string theory. The idea that everything in the universe is made of tiny vibrating strings. A primitive understanding, but yes, Lyra's form shimmered. Reality itself is a song, Admiral Chen. Your species hasn't just weaponized music. You've begun to speak the language of creation itself, and we can teach you to sing it better. Over the next weeks, the Harmonious Collective shared their knowledge with humanity. They taught them how to modulate their songs through the electromagnetic spectrum, how to use quantum harmonics to enhance their sonic weapons, and most importantly, how to defend against Viridian attempts to silence them. The Beethoven's crew quarters became a strange hybrid of military installation and music conservatory. Human singers trained alongside RRN light weavers, learning to blend traditional Earth music with cosmic frequencies. Other species from the collective arrived. The crystalline resonators who had defected from the Viridian Empire generations ago, the plasma-based choir of the solar winds, even the mysterious deep singers whose songs could traverse the void between galaxies. Sarah found herself spending hours with Lyra, learning how the Aurorans had developed their mastery of universal harmony. Your battle symphony, Lyra explained, her colors shifting to match the memory. It wasn't just a weapon. It was a declaration to the cosmos that humanity understands something fundamental, that creation itself is an endless song, and those who try to impose rigid silence upon it are fighting against the nature of existence itself. Meanwhile, in her hidden laboratory on a distant Viridian world, Zara continued her research. The data from Crystallis Prime had confirmed her suspicions. Human music wasn't just affecting Viridian technology, it was resonating with patterns she discovered in the very structure of spacetime. When she presented her findings to the Viridian High Council, she was branded a heretic. But her message spread through the Empire's scientific community. The humans weren't primitives playing with sound. They were teaching the galaxy to sing again. As the alliance between humanity and the Harmonious Collective grew stronger, They began preparing for what they knew would come. The Viridian Empire wouldn't accept this challenge to their ordered universe. They would return with everything they had, determined to silence not just humanity, but any species that dared to embrace the music of existence. "Let them come," Sarah told her crew during a fleet-wide briefing. They tried to silence one world and found a chorus. Now they face an entire galaxy ready to sing as one. Around her, human voices joined with alien harmonies in a new kind of battle symphony, one that carried not just the power to destroy, but the promise of a universe united in song. In the space around Crystallis Prime, the combined fleet of humanity and the Harmonious Collective began their preparations. Ships of light and steel moved in patterns that traced cosmic harmonies. The crystalline surface of the planet below pulsed with new frequencies as resonator scientists helped humans understand its patterns. And in every ship, every station, every gathering place, the songs continued, no longer just weapons of war, but declarations of a fundamental truth. The universe itself was alive with music, and humanity had finally learned to join its eternal chorus. The Viridian Empire's response to the alliance between humanity and the Harmonious Collective was as swift as it was devastating. 10,000 crystalline warships emerged from hyperspace, their structures reinforced with new resonance-dampening technology. At their head was the Imperial Dreadnought Eternal Silence, its hull carved from a single crystal of impossible size and purity. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the Beethoven's Bridge, watching the enemy fleet approach Crystallis Prime. Beside her, Lyra's form shifted through spectrums of light that indicated both concern and determination. The combined fleet of humanity and the Harmonious Collective seemed small in comparison to the Viridian Armada, but numbers weren't everything. Not anymore. "All ships, activate the quantum chorus protocols," Sarah commanded. Throughout the fleet, crews connected their neural sonic interfaces to the new systems designed by the collective. Human voices merged with alien harmonies, creating wavelengths that rippled through multiple dimensions of spacetime. High Commander Ixel's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Your corruption of the natural order ends today. The universe demands silence and structure, not your chaos of sound and light." "You're wrong, Commander," Sarah responded, but not over conventional communications. Her words rode the harmonics of the battle symphony itself, reaching into the crystalline structure of every Viridian ship. "The universe isn't silent, it sings, and today you're going to hear its true voice." The battle began not with weapons fire, but with song. The human collective fleet moved in patterns that traced sacred geometries through space, each ship adding its voice to a symphony that transcended normal spacetime. The Viridians launched their attack, crystal weapons spitting beams of coherent energy, but something was different. Their new dampening technology, Lyra observed, her colors pulsing with revelation. "It doesn't just block our songs. It's trying to impose absolute silence on space itself. They're attempting to create a dead zone in the cosmic harmony." Sarah watched as the Viridian weapons took their toll, several allied ships shattering under the assault. But then something unprecedented happened. From the crystalline surface of the planet below, a new frequency emerged. The world they had conquered, then learned to communicate with, was joining the battle. In her secret laboratory, deep in Viridian space, Zara felt it too. Her instruments detected harmonic patterns propagating through the crystalline networks that connected all Viridian worlds. The song of Crystallis Prime was spreading, awakening something that had been suppressed for millennia. "All ships, full convergence," Sarah ordered. "Execute the Unity Chorus." Human voices rose in perfect harmony with Auroran light songs, while the choir of the solar winds added electromagnetic pulses that danced between radio waves and visible light. The resonators contributed frequencies that spoke directly to the crystalline structure of the Viridian ships, while the deep singers provided bass notes that vibrated through the quantum foam of space itself. But the real surprise came from within the Viridian fleet. Across their ships, crystalline structures began to resonate with the Unity Chorus. Generations of imposed silence were breaking down. The very material of their civilization was remembering its own song. Impossible. Ixal raged as his flagship's crystals began to pulse with light and sound. Increased dampening fields. Silence them all. You don't understand, Commander. Zara's voice cut through the chaos, broadcasting from her lab to every Viridian ship. Our crystals sing because that's their natural state. Our entire civilization is built from materials that want to resonate with the cosmic symphony. We didn't achieve order by imposing silence. We achieved stagnation. Throughout the Viridian fleet, crew members began to experience something their species had suppressed for generations: the song of their own crystalline bodies in harmony with the universe. The dampening fields, instead of protecting them, were causing pain as they fought against the natural resonance of existence itself. Sarah watched in awe as the massive Viridian fleet began to fracture, not from weapons fire, but from within. Ships whose crews embraced the awakening song began to glow with inner light, their crystals refracting the cosmic symphony in beautiful patterns. Those who fought against it found their vessels literally torn apart by the dissonance between imposed silence and natural harmony. The eternal silence, Ixal's flagship, held out the longest. Its massive crystal hull fought against the resonance until the dissonance reached critical levels. In the final moments, as his ship began to break apart, Ixal heard something that shattered his worldview more thoroughly than any weapon could have: the sound of his own crystalline form joining the universal chorus. In the aftermath, as the dust of shattered ships sparkled in space like a new constellation, Sarah opened a channel to all surviving vessels, both Allied and Viridian. "Listen," she said simply. And in the silence after battle, everyone heard it. The background resonance of the cosmos itself, the subtle harmony that had always been there, waiting to be acknowledged. Zara's voice joined the broadcast. "For too long, we Viridians sought to impose our vision of perfect order through silence. But true order, we now know, comes from harmony, from joining the song, not fighting it." The surviving Viridian ships, their crystals now pulsing in sync with the cosmic frequencies, took up position alongside the human collective fleet. Their civilization would need to be rebuilt, not as an empire of silence, but as part of the universal chorus. Sarah looked out at the battlefield, where crystalline debris caught the light of distant stars and scattered it like notes in an endless song. Beside her, Lyra's form rippled with colors that spoke of hope and triumph. The neural sonic interface hummed with the voices of her crew, no longer singing for battle, but simply for the joy of adding their own notes to the music of existence. "What now?" Diego asked, his voice carrying both exhaustion and wonder. Sarah smiled. "Now we teach the galaxy to sing. After all, the symphony's only just beginning." And so it was that humanity, having gone from singing work songs in space to wielding the fundamental harmonies of the cosmos, helped usher in a new age of universal harmony. The story of their battle songs would echo through time, reminding future generations that in a universe that never stops singing, silence was never the answer.